Well, it is possible to talk and talk and talk and yet have nothing communicated. I was visiting a foreign country, and while I was there, it just so happened to be that country, they were celebrating New Year's. And they asked me, the church, local church asked me and said, "Hey, would you come and please share in our church?" Now, in that church, it was illegal. In that country, it was illegal for foreigners, for white people to go and to preach in the churches. But because it was New Year's and it was a special service, I said, okay, I will go and I will share what God has put upon my heart. So I prayed about it, and anyway, the evening came for the sharing time that were the church service. And so we went to the church service, and it was in a house. So we went down this dark alley, and we got to this house, and this house had 4 rooms. And in those 4 rooms, the church would meet in the 4 rooms. It was just like a regular house, the 4 rooms on the first floor. And so I gathered in one room, and after a while people came, and that first room filled up, and people were still coming, and then the second room filled up, and then the third, and then the fourth. And pretty soon there were people looking inside the windows because it got too full in those 4 rooms. Well, then came time for the service to start. And when I started the service, I had a translator. I was speaking in English, and it was being translated into the local language. And so I'm there, and they got the one of the best English teachers in that city. It was a city of 3 million people, and they had different levels of high schools. They had the number 1 high school, number 2 high school, number 3. Well, this translator was the English teacher for the number 2 high school in the whole city. And she had been an English teacher for 8 years. So her English was considered tops. Well, I go in there and start to preach, and we open the Bibles, and I start to preach and teach. And in my sermon, I was telling a story. And part of that story, this was one of the whole foundation of the sermon was based upon this story. And I can't remember exactly all the details of the story, but I was talking about a Christian man. That there was this Christian man, and he went and did this, and went and did this, and this Christian man did that, this and that. But halfway through me telling this very long story, I realized that it was being translated wrong. And so I realized, and my local language was very limited, but I realized that this story was being translated the question man, not the Christian man. So my whole story, the example of this whole story was going to fall flat because the whole story was about a Christian man, not a question man. What was I going to do? So I took that story, and I just stopped, and I dropped it, and continued to preach and teach through the Bible and through some other illustrations. But all that is to show, brothers and sisters, that we can talk, and we can talk and talk and talk. But if we're not communicating, if we're not speaking the local language of the people, then maybe our talk is all in vain. So make sure that your Christian talk matches your Christian walk, and then you will be an effective witness for Jesus Christ. God bless.